All right, we're going to move over to the defense here for A&M momentarily. You know what else? What other resource I get stuck on is our guy StatAwar, Parker Fleming on Twitter. He has his own website now too, cfb-graphs.com. And those of you who follow Parker on social media will remember he used to post these. He used to post some of them on Twitter from time to time. Now you can go check out pretty much every single game and just all the different matchups, at least from a statistical standpoint, and see, hey, where is there maybe a deficiency in this team, that offense versus that defense, and the reversal of that. And just to give you an idea, and I know these analytics and stats and all this, they aren't for everybody, Chris, but it's kind of interesting to me when your eye test, when the results on the field, and the kind of productivity in the traditional stats kind of match up with what the analytics are telling us as well. And so on Parker's graphics, blue basically means good, dark blue means elite, and then red is just like stop, like you're hurting our eyes here. And A&M, Chris, and there's about 15 categories for his main graph, and they're all blue. They're all some shade of blue for A&M. So that's across defense, offense, just every single way you can measure it. The one area, and then you get even deeper into it, man, there's like all these subcategories. Most of the subcategories, very blue as well. The one area is points per quality drive on defense. And so points per quality drive is essentially an area that measures what we saw. Y'all remember the LSU game for South Carolina on offense? You didn't get credit with being in the red zone, but you got to that like 30, 35, 40-yard spot. Quality drive is you got to the opponent's 40. And I think you have to have a first down within that. Like you can't have just gotten there. You have to have a sequence of downs inside the 40. And so offensively, points per quality drive are measuring how often do you take advantage of that. South Carolina, of course, not very good on that on offense. The one area for Texas A&M, they're 112th in the country in points per quality drive allowed on defense. So when teams have gotten to the 40, they haven't gotten there a ton, but when they have gotten to the 40, they have typically scored points. And so I don't know if that's here nor there. Typically when you just have, if that's your path, if you have this little sliver, that's not a good sign, right? But I just think it speaks to the overall, I would say, overall depth and different ways this A&M team can beat you across the board, man.
Yeah, and, we might not spend a lot of time on special teams, but they've been good there. They've got some scores on special teams in the return game. That's another area you have to be alert on. Shane Beamer pointed out they had a game-changing, fake punt that was successful for them against Missouri last week. Defensively, it's an interesting situation for A&M West because you're right. Like you kind of got to nitpick a little bit here and there to pick out the path. Defensively, they are still really good. And the thing that they do well is kind of similar to Oklahoma, right? They create havoc. Like they tend to create a lot of negative plays. They've got Cassius Howell and that front, that front for A&M is not as highly ranked as we've typically seen it. A lot of years you roll out those guys, you go look back at their recruiting rankings. Here's 2 5-stars and 2 4-stars that were almost 5 stars. Like that's what you're accustomed to. Now they still have some cats like that, but Cassius Howell transfer from Bowling Green, Some of the other guys, maybe not as marquee names, but they've got experience and they are quite talented and they can get after you up front. They can rush the passer. They do a really good job of creating havoc, which, as we all know, has been an issue for South Carolina with sacks, with tackles for loss, negative plays. So that's what you got to be on alert for. And that's what if you're Mike Furry, rest of the offensive staff, that's got to be top of mind when you're game planning and when you're actually calling the plays on Saturday. One thing is they have given up some points at times and they've given up some plays at times, and it's in spots. You look back early in the season and they give up, I think, a couple hundred rushing yards to Texas San Antonio. You look at the Arkansas game. We all know Bobby Petrino, whatever you think of him, he is a bright offensive mind who's really good at calling plays. Taylon Green, big athletic quarterback. Arkansas puts up 42. The problem is they can't stop A&M offensively. They lose in a close game. Notre Dame put up, 40, I think, in that game, Wes, led by one of the nation's best running backs in Jeremiah Love. So, teams who are really good on offense can cause them problems. They've given up some plays, some yards, some scores, and spots. But again, the question that we keep asking, can South Carolina make that matter? Can you go put together more of a complete performance? Can you go have a game where you run the ball like you did against LSU, or you pass the ball like you did at Missouri? But the key is you're probably going to have to mix both of those things and be more balanced, right? This isn't a team that you're going to want to be in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12 against. Really, really bad formula against Mike Elko with how they play, with the creativity that they can show. You're going to have to stay ahead of the change. And frankly, I think you're going to need to try to break their defense down. If you're going to do it, you're going to have to create some explosive plays. And you're going to have to get into maybe not the red zone, but into that, 30, 40-yard area that you mentioned, Wes. Can South Carolina do it and make it matter?
Yeah, and when you do get those opportunities, can you take advantage of it? And that's something where maybe having a new offensive coordinator, maybe being able to go against tendencies over time. If you're not having success, if you're not executing on offense, and then teams start to get your tendencies as well, your OC's tendencies, it makes it just really, really tough sledding. We'll see if just having a new guy out there, if there's a new confidence on the offensive side, but also is there an aspect of this thing where, you're just sort of able to catch, I don't want to say catch them off guard, but in some ways, yes, just catch them on their heels a little bit. Like, there's only so much you can do, right? Like, you're not going to go out there and reinvent the wheel and reinvent the offense, but at least maybe keep them guessing a little bit in terms of what your tendencies are moving forward.